Craig, how was the trip back from Turkey, and how do you reflect on the experience of playing out there?
No, it was it was good. We got a good recovery done the next day. Important, especially with these games being so quick. Got to watch a lot of it back. It was good. It was a lot what we felt maybe before was going to happen. We always want more, but you know, in a coaching term, but also like without publicly, because I want to win every game, and I want to be able to dominate every game. But reflecting, looking back, there's some key areas where we need to be consistent before we're able to be a team that can go to a place like Turkey, which is a very difficult place to go, and be able to be dominant.
So with tomorrow's game in mind, you mentioned key areas. What are the areas that you'd like to see improvement tomorrow night? Granted, they're two very different tests.
They're two completely different tests. And that's what's been very good with this group. Every team is very, very different. It's been very competitive. You know, I know Montenegro have ended up with no points, but there's a few games they could have come out with points. And even I watched the game against Iceland, they could have won that. They could have won that, the chances they had overall, and they're playing the game. So it's been a very competitive group. Iceland a very difficult team to play against. They have very good profiles, you know, very good football players. You know, Oscarson up top, he's a real handful. He's an exceptional footballer. So it's going to be a difficult game.
Reflecting on the game we had out in Reykjavik, how do you see tomorrow night going? Same kind of test, or again a completely new challenge at home?
It's a different challenge. You know, we're the home team. You know, you always believe, especially international stages, the home team will get a bit of an advantage from that as well. But we have to play the game at our tempo, and I always emphasise that's without the ball, which will allow us to be better with the ball. So that's really what we need to be looking for tomorrow. We need control of the game. We need to be playing the game in their half. We're still going to be, you know, they still create problems on the counter-attack, you know, because they have speed at the top end of the pitch, so counter-attacks are going to be, we need control. So that's a very important part. We can't just throw numbers forward. But it's a game we want to win. It's a game Iceland want to win. And that's what it's going to be. You know, I honestly, the last 30 minutes of this game, it's going to be good.
Because Iceland, from what we've seen in this group, they're no pushovers, are they? They will keep going at you.
Iceland, if you look at the profile of their players and you look at the experience of their team, now what they've been good at is producing really top young players coming through. You look at the other side of their experience. You know, they have players who've played at major tournaments. You know, 200,000 people. They play together. They work together. You know, as a unit, as a group. I have nothing but praise for them, and I always have. Probably a soft spot because of the Icelandic players I've worked with before. They're hard not to like, but this team is a real difficult team to play against because they're together, and you have to admire that as well. And it also makes it very difficult for an opposition team to play against and to plan against.
Because the last game, I remember you speaking in such high regard about Iceland and everything they do as a footballing nation. I guess we think Wales is small, but everything that they've achieved, my word, it's... Yeah,
but you know, it really does go to show with investment, a clear belief and a clear pathway to what you're looking to do, you will produce young players. And if a country of 200,000 people can do that, they're an example. Now, we see a lot of countries with 50 to 100 million people really struggle to even get anywhere near the success of someone like Iceland. So it's been a credit to their planning, their development, and that's why they've, you know, it won't happen overnight, but 10 to 15 years from that, they've been able to, they've sort of been on a similar journey to us. Yeah. You know, if you look at the timing of tournaments we've qualified for, maybe we've just missed out on when they qualified, then we qualified, they just missed out. But both nations have always been in the playoffs. If you watch even for the Euros as well, you know, they lost to Ukraine. And when we lost to Poland. So, we're both very, very close to being in the Euros. So I feel we're very even on that. But tomorrow, can we push on from where we've been as well?
And of course, an incredibly experienced manager. I was keen to know from a coaching perspective, because in this group you've come across, we had Montella on Saturday, again, so experienced. How much have you enjoyed that challenge, being in the dugout, the other side of them, and the challenge of unpicking their teams?
It is. It is. Probably the first game helped because I was unknown. So that gave us a little bit of a head start. Second game against Montenegro was just an insane game. Third game, Iceland, I felt we had control, but then second half that changed. So you have to learn very, very quick. Now, it's key to, do you protect your principles at this stage and then play out the game? What's going to benefit us for the long term? Now, I always want to win, but I have to look as well long term. So I felt Iceland as well, we have to go through a little bit of pain for this present moment because we will gain in the long run. That's why even going into the Turkey game against Montella, he changed. I have so much admiration for him after that, especially after the first game, to see what I see in the second game. But that really adds to us because they adapted to what we do. But then can we keep what we were good at the first game, say against the Turkey? So if you watch backline high, aggressive, then it allows a lot of the other parts of our game to really benefit. But if you're going slower, you're not getting to the line quick enough. Now, the atmosphere, certain decisions at certain times, because you're away, can affect you. But it's our role and us as coaches to not allow that to be. We can't let that be affecting us. So I believe on the journey and where we want to go, how we want to create this team for the next few years. Games like that, me coming across these type of managers, and I'll learn again tomorrow, because an experienced manager who's dominated Scandinavian football for a number of years, that's going to be an interesting challenge on its own.
Two players I'd like to discuss tomorrow night, Joe Rodon being one of them. I know we talked about him after Saturday. He'll be presented with his 50th cap before the game. With Joe, do you think we're seeing a new level to him at the moment, this new confidence, this new maturity to his game? Because he's been phenomenal. I've
always admired how he defends the box. If you watch how he defends it, how he's able to get first contact, but he has a real art I can't coach. I believe he's probably, what they do at Leeds and previous managers of Wales have definitely helped with that. So I'm grateful I have that from him and want to keep that, of course. But the way we look to play and the way I just feel it benefits him because he's very good on the ball. He's better than a lot of people thought he was. Like, I believe he's exceptional on the ball. But then I believe he could be high because he has speed. Players with his defending attributes don't particularly have that type of speed. He has real speed. So it allows us to be aggressive. It allows us to be high. Now, if you look at what I just named there, brilliant at box defending, very good on the ball, very, very quick. That's a very good profile. It really is, and I believe that's what he is. So I've always been a big admirer of him. I know I keep saying that for a lot of our players, but trust me, with Joe, I spoke to him. I remember I first messaged him about 8 years ago when he was coming through. So I was like, I was excited about him. To be here while he gets his 50th cap is great because he's going to get plenty more as well.
Speaking of caps, Ben Davies, cap number 92 tomorrow night. Sorry?
Incredible.
Yeah. Level with Neville Southall's record, of course, an iconic name in Welsh football. I'm not going to ask you about the captaincy because I know you mentioned before that we always talk about the captaincy here. But
I think it's more of a rugby thing here. I think captaincy maybe might be bigger because of our culture, but I tend not to be too concerned. Everyone has to be a leader.
But Ben, as a person, describe what it's been like working with him, and I guess how much of a help has he been to you since you've come in?
So big, so big. Because you see him with complete buy-in, and when he's in, he's relaying a lot of the messages to the players as well. He's taking the lead. Some of the messages, he might not see me here, like I'm listening at certain times, and I listen to some of them. So he's given the same message and the consistency coming from a player. He's like a coach, and that just allows, he structures the players. Now, I believe it's so important because as coaches, I'm not a policeman. I'm not here to look over you and tell you what to do day in, day out. You have to be responsible for yourself. We ask you to take responsibility on the pitch. You have to take it off it as well. But Ben controls a lot of that. He controls the standards. And that's why that type of profile and that type of person, like we're talking about the man, it's, he's just so beneficial. And listen, we can give bits as coaches and we can help develop the team that way, but his messaging, his buy-in does the work for you.
Finally, Craig, last game of the group tomorrow night. Just in general, looking back at this campaign, how do you reflect on it? And is the team where you would have liked them to have been, when you got appointed and started doing all the planning?
I have to... It's been more. I honestly believe we're ahead, and that's I much prefer to overachieve and underachieve, of course. Looking at it's just been so good, and that's the honest truth. It's been, now of course, consistency in certain parts of games, but to be where we are, what I was looking and what we were looking for coaching-wise, can we really stamp our mark? Can we create an identity within this stage? I believe that's happened, and it happened very, very quick. I believe we're pushing now. Now we've got that sort of there. Now we want to move. We need to move again. And I honestly and that's where Turkey really lifts me again. I want us to be a real dominant team. I don't want to be just happy with results. And what did we look like? How good were we? Were we able to go to tough oppositions and tough atmospheres and really take our game to them? That's what I want from us in the future. I honestly feel we're getting closer to that than I've ever felt.